Ah, yes, 25 in 25. Yes, this is a challenge that people do every year. Last year, I did 100 books to read in 2024, and I was like, hey, if I got to 24 of those, it would count. I got to 14. That's because I didn't plan things. I just put things in the box. So, guess what? I'm a fan of failure because I'm going to do it again. But obviously, not 100 this time. I'm going to do 25 books that I'm going to read in 2025 because they're also going to be hinting at future events and future videos that I want to make. So I thought since this is actually a planned out one, I might succeed. Now you might be like, oh, Andrew, why are we not seeing your face? Well, because I don't feel like taking 25 books off their shelves to have to reshelf them. That's just a lot of work. And I prefer to do this where I took out some of the books that I want to read, and then I'll go over them and showcase them as I talk about them. So the first one, the novelization for Alien Resurrection. This is the last film of the Alien franchise that has a novelization. Not counting AVP, that I have not read. So I actually just rewatched this movie today, and it's freaking a movie. It's a movie. I don't know how well that will be in script form because the movie is actually good because of the direction and the editing and the performances, not the script. Joss Whedon, no. Next up, this is a book that's supposed to be terrible, Predator Forever Midnight. It is the last mainstream Predator book in the Dark Horse press line that I need to read. The only other one that is other mainstream Predator books I need to read is Predator Big Game and Predator 1 and 2. I might do a Predator vlog where I focus on this one primarily. Speaking of Alien vs. Predator, I do want to read Alien vs. Predator Prey, which is the first one of the Alien AVP novels that is recapping a Dark Horse comic. So it's an adaptation of a comic book in novel form. Next up, we are moving to the next thing. This one I want to read for Garb August, and that is Star Trek V The Final Frontier, the novelization. A lot of people do not like Star Trek V The Final Frontier. I do. I love this movie. It's not good. It's not good. It's, in fact, amazingly bad, but I adore it to the ends of the earth. So, of course, I want to pick this one out and actually read this for Garbogist. Why does God need a starship? Speaking of things that are kind of novelizations, I believe this is a novelization of Piranha. And I'm definitely going to be reading this in the summer, as I do want to talk about and read some aquatic horror books in the summer. Probably June. Kitty and Kelsey and I were talking about redoing our Patreon reading event where we have a bunch of. Last year it was slashers, sharks, slashers, and monster romance. Not sure if we're going to be changing it up, but regardless, something that's summery and is watery based will be appropriate for that. Next up is The Fog. This is a novelization of the thrilling film, and it's actually written by Dennis Etchison. And I want to read this for Halloween next year. So that is a Halloween read priority. Also, I want to read Claude's Mind. Oh, it's only food. Well, I did it now, so can't do that in 2025. Next up, one that I want to do. I wanted to do a vlog on Terminator. I basically want to do like a read like Terminator vlog. Well, not read like Terminator. I want to do a vlog where I like start it with like, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT what to recommend me, and then I'm actually only gonna read Terminator books. And the joke is, pretty self-explanatory. But this is the one that I've always wanted to read because it's like this weird book from 2004 that was released way after Terminator 2, but it's a Terminator 2 tie-in novel, which is just strange. Next up, I did just read Columbo: A Christmas Killing, and it was good, so it made me want to read the rest of the Columbo books, and this is one that's been in my collection for ages. This is Columbo: The Grassy Knoll, where yes, Columbo is gonna find out who killed JFK. At least I hope so. One more thing. That bullet wasn't so magic. This whole shelf is a mess. I apologize. Next up, which is one that I want to read in July, I'm thinking this July is going to be focusing on reading dinosaur books and books that are like specifically for me. And what better thing to read for Dinosaur July than Dinosaur Summer, which is a sequel to The Lost World that is supposed to tie in things like King Kong and all these like very famous dinosaur-esque things. And I've heard that it's an interesting book. Speaking with that theme, Death Beast by David Gerald. David Gerald actually wrote quite a few, I think it was like Star Trek episodes that he wrote back in the day. And that book, Death Beast, was actually what was originally going to be adapted for a movie. It might have been Planet of the Dinosaurs. I think Planet of the Dinosaurs was originally going to be adapted to be Death Beast, but they couldn't get the rights. So thought that would be interesting to read. Now we're into my other thing. I want to do a vampire reading vlog, so that's why this is here. Blind Hunger. I want to do some more paperbacks from hell. I didn't want to stuff the list with paperbacks from hell, but the one that I wanted to read for ages is The Foundling. Imagine if Rosemary's Baby had a baby. I have shown that one. If you've been around long enough, you know that I love that cover, and I've shown it many, many times. Next up, another Halloween read. This is a short story collection of various tales that happened in Ravenloft, which is a setting in Dungeons & Dragons. A Dungeons & Dragons series that I've been getting into recently is the Dragonlance series, and it actually was started because I first read this book, Emperor of Aeon Salon. So I went to find all of the other Dragonlance villains book, and now that I've actually read the book that this character was featured in, I can read this with a whole new appreciation. So definitely going to read this one. Before the Mask. And then there's also this murder mystery that was set in frickin' the Dragonlance world, so I thought that would be fun to read as well. Going over here is Dracula Asylum. Again, this is going to be a Halloween-y read. I've read some of the other books that are in this Dark Horse Press series. One has been bad, the other was amazing. So I have trepidations about this one. I hope it's good, but I'm not 100% sure. That is a official tie-in to Universal Horror Dracula. Next up, because I was talking about the potential for the event that I am going to be doing with Kelsey and Kitty on their Patreons. We always talk about slashers, so I thought what better time to read this novelization of my favorite Friday the 13th film, Jason Lives. Next up, on my Patreon next month, I am doing Catuary, which is all about reading cat books. Now, these are just a variety of things to represent. I want to read at least one more Cozy Cat Mysteries, so it could be Fry Another Day, it could be A Knight's Tale, it could be Between a Book and a Hard Place, or it could even be Baseball Cat. Like, did this cat kill this man? I don't know. I love this cover. Cat's like, yeah, bitch, I killed you. You better go home to hell. Anyways, I want to read one of those. Next up, this is where I keep most of my short story collections. Now they're kind of spread around, but ideally this is where they would mainly be. And I'm going to finish Shadows 4. I have read the first, I believe, either one or two short stories from this collection. I need to finish it because I love the Shadows series. So one of my events this year will be Finish February. And we will kind of go back to like either reread books or to finish things that you have been meaning to do. And that will be a public reading event that is basically just like picking up things that you have left off your TBR. Another thing I want to do in February, this is something I joked about last year, but I'm going to do it this year, I swear, is get together all the monster romance girlies and show them various characters from old Dungeons and Dragons monster manuals. And do basically, a hot or not, would they date the various monsters in the D&D monster manuals, which I just think is fun because it will be complete with janky artwork and some very weird monsters that are in especially those earlier editions of Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm counting that all as one, not just separated as individually. Another thing in my thing to read in October is Bram Stoker's Dracula. This is a comic book featuring the likeness of Bela Lugosi. And I actually got that as a Christmas gift from my brother-in-law. Oh, that's weird. I didn't even think he's my brother-in-law now because my sister got married. Wow. I've bought this book either last year or the year before, and I really have been meaning to actually sit down and read it. And that is Gretchen Falker Martin's Manhunt, which I hear is not exactly a rosy, happy book, but I'm kind of like, yeah, I need that sometimes, not all the time. And my second last book is a book I own a few times. This is Drakenfels, which is the very first novel in Warhammer Fantasy. And this is Jack Evil, but in actuality, that was a pseudonym for Kim Newman, which I don't think means anything to most people. Most people are like, I have no idea who that is. But anyways, yeah, I do own this twice. But look at how cool. Look at the cool. I love the freaking sprayed edges. That's just like a cool version. So yeah, I do own that twice. Whatever, bro. Fight me. But this one has original artwork in it. So I have the audiobook, so I might listen along and just look at the artwork in there as well. And last, but certainly not least, is to continue on with the Dark Future series. I almost have a complete collection of this as soon as Criminale reads and sends me the other Route 66. So this Route 66 is the one that I read this year, but this is a short story collection, and the main story in it is called Route 666. However, they spun that off into a full novel on its own. So that is the one that is currently in Britain, but I have bought it. So whatever, I might get it this year, or I don't know. It might stay in Criminale's collection for a while. It depends on if he gets to it and if he likes it and all that stuff. So no rush on that one. But the next one in the series is Crocodile Tears. Now, Jack Evil, Yovel or Evil, who knows? It's not a real person. Is, as we previously confirmed, Kim Newman. So this is another Kim Newman joint. And yeah, I'm excited to get to this one as well. And this one, of course, has cool artwork with it too. Cannot wait. And I do love that cover. And I do love these old school, original GW book stuff. So yeah, that is my 25 in 25 that are actually kind of planned out and thought out of this year. Do you think I'm going to get to them? What books are you most excited for me to read? Is there any on here that you think, oh, hey, you probably should be reading that? Thank you guys, and I hope you guys have a good day. Goodbye.